Shadowz. Stay lit. You know the truth is like a diamond. Yeah. That's what I heard. Stay lit. Call me a nigga and I'll take it as a compliment. They told you it was bad and we accepted, now we run with it. The guy said knowledge is water, watch out, I'm pouring it. I wanted the truth, so I went back to the origin. Half serpent, half like us. They say their name was Nagas. The Nagas was said to be the tribe of our foremothers. But wait a minute, that would be the beginning. The continuation of that destination would be Kemet. If you feeling me, I'll keep going cause I ain't finished. And we ain't even scratched the surface, ain't even blemish. It gets deeper. Peep the game, it's no scrimmage. If nobody's in attendance, that's cool, and we can end it. But nah, let's dig deeper. Kemet is Egypt. KMT, the word Egypt is Greek. Now P and Kemet, we ain't really use vowels, but the consonants are dominant, and that's what you pronounce. So NGR, 3 letters, 3 consonants can be pronounced injured if the vowels are placed in front of N and R. You get injured or nigger, all you half-ass pretenders, I'm fixing to injure. What is the meaning of NGR? Is it the meaning or is it nah? What is the meaning of NGR? Is it the meaning or is it nah? What is the meaning of NGR? Is it the meaning or is it nah? What is the meaning of NGR? Is it the meaning or is it nah? Nigger is an ethnic slur, contrary to belief, not an endearment term, and we should only accept it in its proper form. The hard R, I don't give a fuck, it's not my call. Wikipedia says it's from the 18th century. Psych, the brethren set the game straight eventually, cause really G, it goes back to command. But you gotta do the one so that the facts can connect. Peace, peace. What it do, famo? This is yours truly, General Pow Shadowz of the House of Hip Step. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Ignorance breeds fear. Ignorance breeds fear. So what we doing? We reverting back to the original form. We going back to the original form. Because you was taken from an original state. The knowledge and the information that we have today is taken from an original state, and it's been grafted and turned into what we know today. Half-truth, miseducation, falsehoods, a bunch of opinions. Opinions based on false perceptions of half information, of inaccurate information. And we here to clean up all that bullshit today and establish the facts. So, what is the meaning of NGR? Welcome to the NGR channel. Welcome back once again for another video. We're going to be dealing with my book today as usual, NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N-word from a hip-hop perspective. If you haven't got it, I want you to get it. Why? Because on this channel, we're going to be going through the book, and you can follow it almost like a workbook. This is like a workshop on race relations, a workshop on understanding the origins and etymology of things pertaining black and indigenous people. And we're dealing with the facts. So I want you to have the book, so as I read excerpts and I reference the book, you'll be able to look through it, all right? So, I hope everybody doing all right. And let's get right into the video and the topic of the video today. The topic of the video is where, actually I'm going to name it, I'm going to name this video, it's actually the first, one of the first sections in the book, and it's also the title, NGR, What Does It Mean? That's what we're going to title this video today. We're going to get into that today a little bit. And I want to start today's video by reading the foreword of the book, right? Because the foreword of the book, you know, kind of like lays the foundation for the book itself. And the foreword was written by my man, MSA. His government's K Melvin, but we just call him MSA. It's been my DJ and one of my best friends, man, since I was a teenager. And I had to get him to write the foreword to the book because he knows me better than anybody. And he knows exactly where I'm coming from. Check this out. Words have defined people, places, emotions, and history. Words inspire and transform. Words have shaped entire cultures. The use of words has a multitude of different meanings, contexts, and intensities. We must strive to understand words properly, because often it can only take just one single word to destroy or elevate a people. Let's seek to broaden our understanding of words and uncover the truths and myths in the very essence of words. Examine the origin and the evidence, the power of words. And I thought that was real appropriate, you know, as a foreword to the book. And a lot of people know me as, like, you see my pen name is P.E. McCallum, but most people know me as Pow Shadowz on YouTube, on Spotify, and all of your online outlets of music and entertainment. I can be found as Pow Shadowz. And Pow originally meant universal power. It was originally just short for power, because, you know, the true power that we all have is within ourselves. And don't ever let people tell you, be it people of your religion, of your political group, social group, or whatever, never let anybody trick you out of your power. You see, like my man No Hooks Juke said, shouts out to No Hooks. You know what I mean? You can check his music on YouTube. That's the guy right there. Like No Hooks Juke said, knowledge is the key to unlock your power. But first you must believe that you got the power. You know what I mean? What's worse, teaching the people that the Most High's a mystery, or enslaving our minds and hiding the history? Like Amenhotep, that's where Amen came from. Ancient Egyptians, predating the Christians. No Hooks be dropping that knowledge. But anyway, in the rhymes, some of y'all need to, like, update your rhymes, man. Your rhymes ain't talking about nothing but a bunch of murder, 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 drugs, 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 death, 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 pen, 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 go to the pen, 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 once again, again, again. And you need to change your subject matter because your scope is hella limited. You're going straight to the penitentiary or straight to the graveyard. What kind of destination is that? That's because you've been dumbed down, famo. You've been dumbed down by the island boys, living in the island boys. You've been dumbed down, fam. People, the reason that I wrote the book on the N-word, man, is because ignorance breeds fear. And knowledge is the antidote, is the serum of ignorance. So check this out, fam. And in order for us to erase, let me just say this. In order for us to erase racism, hashtag eracism, for real, we're going to have to, like, address this thing head on, and we can't be no suckers about it. We can't be no punks about it. We can't be scary. Cats talk about being real and being G's and all that. Well, a G ain't nothing scary about a G. A G could talk about the streets. A G could talk about the condition of his people. And not be afraid, not be scary or what. The conversation. Because a G is trying to get things done. And what we trying to get done on this channel, NGR Exposed, is we're trying to heal the racism, the rampant racism. You watch video after video after video about this injustice being done to black and indigenous people. This thing, this brutality being done. This form of discrimination. This person getting shot for knocking on the door of a white supremacist. This person getting shot for challenging police terrorism. And y'all think that the solution to that is what? Ignore it? Ignore it is ignorance, and ignorance breeds fear. Racism ain't gonna go away. Prejudice and race relations in the country is not just gonna get better by osmosis. It's gonna get better by people like me and you not being afraid to have the conversation. So, I wrote the book. Look, let me read the back of the book. This expose is more like a journey through history. I thoroughly explore the origins and etymology of the N-word. I also consider this a memoir, social experiment, and a daring attempt to delve deep into the psyche of American culture surrounding the struggles to correct racial and social injustice, white supremacy, and a horrible state, I said a horrible state of race relations we're currently experiencing in this country. Facts. Let's go to page 18. Again, you got to get my book, NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N-word from a hip-hop perspective on Amazon, Kindle, and paperback, and the audio book version is being prepared as we speak. Let's go to page 20 in my book. Page 20 to the section NGR, What Does It Mean? It says, Meduneta is hieroglyphics. Yeah, that's what the Greeks call it. And that's a quote. It starts with that quote. And that's a quote from me on my song, NGR, that you can find on Spotify. The next quote is, nigger was first spelled NGR. It metamorphosized to nigger. And here we are. So it starts with those two very powerful quotes. Look at these N-words. Naga, Negas, Negus, NGR, Niger, Negar, Negro, Noir. Look at these N-words. Can you see them? Right here. I'm going to have to get some cue cards or something so y'all can see better. Negra and nigger, the N-word, are derived from Niger and the lesser known Nigrum, the Latin stems. And YouTube, I'm gonna start saying the N-word from now on because I'm not trying to fall into getting censored by your algorithms. Even though a rapper can say the N-word 1,000 times, and the B word, and the H word, and everything else, the P word, and F word, and YouTube won't ban that. YouTube won't demonetize that artist. But if we in a conversation talk about these things candidly, you already know what it is. So I'm for whatever Nigger appears in my book, right? For the algorithm and so that this message gets out, I will replace it with the N-word, okay? Even though in my book, I speak freely, very candidly, because it's the facts. Negra and the N-word are derived from Niger and the lesser known Nigrum. And Nigrum is N-I-G-R-U-M, the Latin stems. These are the Latin stems of the N-word. Negra and Nigrum. Yo MTV Raps and Rap City were positive hip-hop platforms in the late 90s. Then I began to notice more songs that portray black and indigenous people as the stereotypical black male and females who overly use the N-word to refer to themselves without knowing that nigger comes from NGR and Negus and originally referred to an emperor, empress, king, or queen. And in fact, a lot of time when we use the term even as nigga, it is met with discontent and not acceptance. And I just went against my own words when I said I was going to replace Nigger with the N word, but it happened. There is no doubt there is a negative connotation behind the word as it is widely used today. How can there not be? Most people most likely have not been informed about its origins and etymology. Many of us have been exposed to the N-word through movies, music, documentaries, etc. In general, it is used in a degrading sense, so it is not surprising that many elders within the black and indigenous community detest the N-word, scowl, and may even become irate when it is used in their presence by anyone. When Empress Verdiasi wrote about Peter the N-word, and that's a title actually, Peter the Nigger. When Empress Verdiasi wrote about Peter the N-word in her book, Return of the Ancient Ones, I had absolutely no idea who he was and why she used that as a title. I think I go on a little bit about that in one of my other videos, so we'll end the quote there. But I want to focus on, I do want to encourage everybody to go do research on Pedro de Nino. All right? And let's read this. In fact, as far as her book goes, I was in the dark about the whole premise of it, which is the story of the black Native Americans, as she would sometimes say. Empress Verdiasi wrote about Peter the N-word, as she called him, who accompanied Christopher Columbus on his voyage to the New World and was a navigator and not merely the help. Upon doing further research on Peter the N-word, I found Pedro Alonso Nino, who was an Afro-Spanish explorer who piloted the Santa Maria during Christopher Columbus' first voyage to the Americas. And this information from Wikipedia coincides with what the Empress wrote in her book and what she told me in person and reiterated through her life. And I talk about, you hear me talk about the Empress a lot, Verdiasi. May she rest in paradise, the Washita Empress. But NGR, right? So, now let's talk about Naga, Negus, Negus, NGR, Niger, Negar, Negro, and Noir. See, these are all N-words that are the origin. All those words that I just mentioned are the N-words that are the origin for where the N-word, as we know it, actually comes from. All of these words are the origin of where the N-word comes from. All right? There are these, and I would go so far as to say these are the primary words where the N-word as we know it today comes from. Why? Because remember, the N-word began as NGR in the hieroglyphics. Meduneta is hieroglyphics. See, that's what the Greeks call it. NGR began as the N-word began as NGR in the Meduneta or the hieroglyphics. Then we have to remember that the ancient Egyptians, or as we now know their former name to be the ancient Kemites, right, are related to Ethiopia, which we now know, and like I explained in my book, the true original word for Ethiopia is Cush. So we know that the ancient Cushites are the ancestors of the ancient Egyptians, and that they all are from ancient, the oldest civilizations on earth. Right there, right? In the Fertile Crescent area, Nile Valley civilization. In the Nile Valley, I'm telling you that the N-word was prevalent throughout the Nile Valley. But it was more in the form of NGR. You get injure, or what we know today when you put vowels in front of it. See, NGR omits the vowels in Nga-ori, right? Which means place of God, because the N word, as I explained in my last video, originally meant emperor, king, ruler, or as I mentioned in this chapter. NGR, what does it mean? So, fam, gotta get down with it. Get the book, NGR, what does it mean? An expose on the N word from a hip hop perspective. Yo, family, I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna get up out of here because I want you guys to be able to, you know, see the video in its entirety. I don't want to give you too much. But we'll be back, baby. Yours truly, General Pow Shadowz of the House of Hip Step. I'm a ghost. Catch you on the next one. Tune in. Stay tuned.